So before we get started, you guys always love the screenshots and the big results. So I pulled up a couple a year. I've worked with the biggest spender on Facebook, a public company. They've got about 600 brands, and some of these brands are spending millions of dollars a month. I've worked with more independent and smaller companies as well as on like the tech and SaaS side of acquisition and marketing. So I've really seen it all. I've even worked and consulted with a company that is using AI to kind of bring back iOS 14, pre-iOS 14 performance. So actually solving attribution at like the most fundamental level with AI and getting AI involved in that. And they've actually been working directly with the island team of Meta to really solve this problem with the privacy situation. So I've really seen it all. And I've worked with, as I said, a lot of big brands as well as the smaller brands. And I'm covering two things today. So the first thing I'm covering is pretty much everything around funnel diagnostics, good and bad metrics, how to solve every issue in your funnel. Secondly, I'm going to show you guys a method that takes one, zero ad spend, and two, guarantees you like a three to four return on ad spend. And this thing is so powerful and it's infinitely scalable. And for every unit of time and energy you put into this, it scales exponentially. So we've even done this with a brand, and there's 2 or 3 brands that's doing this right now. And yeah, it's a really cool strategy. And I think this will really show you guys what you can do if you think outside the box of really scaling your ecom brand. But let's get started. So I pretty much made this presentation as a full top to bottom of funnel pretty much, and we're going to go over some really specific examples. And I've made a bunch of free tools for you guys that you're going to get access to, so don't worry if you don't write everything down. You're going to get a copy of this presentation. There's like a little QR code you guys are going to scan at the end, and you can get access to all of this info, so don't worry about that. So starting top of funnel. Now, if you don't really launch ads yet, you don't really run ads, this is going to be quite a lot of information for you. If you're already scaling, you kind of know most of these things already. But starting with what's happening in your ad account, we just have some really basic metrics here of like what's good CTRs and bad CTRs. So click-through rate, first of all, like what percentage of people are clicking through to your actual website from your ad account. People who's not too familiar with click-through rate on your actual ad account for Meta, this will be outbound click-through rate, so not just click-through rate, but outbound. And 2 really good metrics is like, 0.5%, really bad, 3.5%, quite good. If you hit like over 4%, like you got a killer creative. Now, cost per click, that's pretty much directly correlated to your click-through rate. So of course, something between 0.5 cent, 50 cents, so $0.5, that's pretty good CPC. And then to the worst side is kind of like $3.5. Now, in saying this, I've also included like really advanced stats in this presentation, so you guys can actually see like breakdowns of industry averages per month as well from really big companies that do a lot of CRO. So I'll show you guys that in a bit as well. And then we also have CPMs, so that's pretty much how much you pay for traffic, of course, per 1,000 views on Meta, so between $8 and $40. And of course, this is Australian as well, to anyone who doesn't that think, of course, to USD. So to diagnose pretty much your funnel, and especially the ad side, and the highest leverage thing you can possibly do with your e-commerce brand is working and refining your offer. So any other issue you normally have with your brand, you can first solve by actually improving your offer. And this is, I think, a skill set that not a lot of people focus on and not a lot of people really think about. But it is the skill set that like all of the top e-com guys I know doing 8-9 figures a year, the number one thing they're thinking of and the number one skill set that they have that differentiates them compared to your standard marketer doing 100 grand a month or 50 grand a month is definitely how well they can craft an offer. So I've seen this time and time again. the same people can sell the same product that you're selling, but they have a 100x skill set in crafting a really good offer and how they sell that product. And that leads to pretty much all of the success they have for that product. So because if you have a good offer, you should be so confident that you know that 100% is going to work. I've seen guys starting new brands, day one, never tested like the funnel, never tested the creatives, dropped 20 grand the first day, and they're sitting at a 3 ROAS. So there's one of my good mates, Bryce, he scaled a blanket to $1 million a month within the first month. So that's literally on 3 ROAS. And he just knows how to create compelling offers, and he just put it on 20 grand a day, went to sleep, and sitting at 60 grand sales the next day. So if you know what you're doing with creating really good offers, it should be so good that, of course, Hormozi says, people feel dumb saying no. And that's going to get you the massive returns on ad spend. That's going to get you the massive scale, because you can't outcompete someone with a better offer than you, no matter how good your creative is, or if you have an extra 10 or 20% AOV or pricing. Like, a really good offer is what differentiates big brands from small brands. And another really big example of why offer is so powerful is this is how you uncommoditize what you're selling. So if you think about Louis Vuitton and you think about a normal t-shirt, the functionality of it is pretty much the same. One has a little logo on, but the reason why LV can sell it for 2 grand and a normal t-shirt sells for $20 is just the fact that they position their offer where they're not selling the shirt anymore, they're selling status. So this is how, when you really think about creatively of like, how can I sell something, is we get these geometric returns. So branding, of course, is part of like offer creation, but a lot of you guys, you just want, you want to start your brand, you want to do numbers right now. You don't want to spend 3 to 5 years building goodwill and stuff. You want money in your bank account today. So that being said, we need to do some practical things of improving our offer and making sure that we have the most probable path to success. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of these things. And again, I want to touch more on the broad things today. And you're going to get a copy of this whole presentation. So have a read through like all of these things. But with your offer, the most basic thing, of course, is just niching down. So when I say niching down, of course, most of you guys would have either one product store or niche store, which is a good start. But another really key metric of what makes a good niche down store is actually your messaging specifically to a certain persona that's going to buy this product. So if you're, for example, selling a wardrobe and you have a little furniture store and you're just selling this wardrobe, you might sell it for $100. But suddenly if you slap the baby word on it and it's a baby wardrobe, then that suddenly becomes $200. If you ever shopped for babies, you would know that everything is 3 times the price and they're exactly the same thing. They might have some pink paint on it. And then you can simply niche down again, and that massively increases your pricing as well. So that baby wardrobe can now have some sort of pain point it solves, like a baby wardrobe that also stores nappies and has this really interesting hanger thing specifically for babies. And now suddenly that goes from $100 to $350 product. And you've really not fundamentally really added that much value, but because you are messaging to a certain pain point, you can charge a lot more, and the person you're selling to also feels like this product is specifically for them. So making sure you niche down to an actual customer persona and really touching on their pain points and their insecurities, and of course their ideal outcomes, is super, super important. So I'm not going to touch too much on offer, but I'll give you a couple of more examples of why this is so important. Now, if you guys follow a lot of the business coaches and stuff like that, probably one of the most powerful things in business is just increasing price. So when you increase price, you have one, a lot more margin to acquire customers. 2, you also have the ability to actually just show that your product is more valuable by simply increasing the price. So if you think about, if you're shopping for whatever the product is and you always do this comparison of like, hey, what's the most expensive in the market? What's like the cheapest in the market? And you always tend to gravitate towards the most expensive thing. And sometimes that most expensive thing doesn't have 10x the value, but it still has 10x the price. So there's no benefit being the cheapest player in the market unless you're like a Kmart and you want to compete on price, but there is a massive benefit to being the most expensive. So don't be afraid to increase your price. And I've even seen conversion rates go up by simply raising the price, because if you get really good at creating offers with a lot of value and you don't charge a lot, they feel like it's a scam. So really understanding that offer creation is really powerful. And on the back of pricing, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is you can charge 10 grand for something, but you can put it on a $20 a month payment plan. There's financing out there, and this is like a really extreme example, but you can charge a lot. There's a lot of financing apps, even like Afterpay and stuff like that. But don't be afraid to actually introduce like financing in different ways of paying for the same product to your actual business. And another quick point I just want to touch on offer creation, and you guys will get this thing, is a lot of you guys are selling one thing. And the biggest problem with selling only one thing is that same person has a bunch of other problems. And so you can simply just make a lot more money by selling more things to that specific person. So a really good framework that a lot of people talk about is they call it like the 4-product framework. And so for every extremely successful business, they normally have 4 products. They've got a free product which gets customers in the door. In ecom, this will typically be like if you have like a little PDF lead magnet or like a mini course around specifically like what you're selling. And that really gets you like a lot of cheap traffic and a lot of leads in the business. Then you've got the subscription product, which some people in ecom, of course, doing really well with just like subscription-based pricing. But just getting people to keep buying from you by delivering them constant value is just a great way to increase your lifetime value. So if you have a product that, let's say, gets used up and you put them on a subscription, now they're buying 12 times a year versus just one time from you. So a lot of the big brands you'll see, they'll always try and integrate some sort of subscription model. And then I'm going to give you some examples of big companies doing this. And then of course you have your core product, which is the thing you guys are probably focusing on selling right now. And then you have your upsell. Now, the reason why the upsell is so good and having something super expensive on your side to actually sell, it firstly massively increases the brand value of your actual brand. So if you just have something on your site that you're selling for 5 or 10 grand, then people just take you a lot more seriously. So what tends to happen is even if you don't get any sales, it tends to price anchor the cheap core thing that you're normally selling and makes it a lot easier for people to buy that because they compare it to the super expensive thing that you're selling. So the other thing is there's always a percentage of people that just want the best and the most expensive thing. And if you just offer the thing that's 2 or 5 grand, you sometimes will just get a purchase. So there's literally free money on the table, and that massively increases your core product offering and the conversion rate of your core product as well. Now, a lot of the big brands actually do this model, and you guys might not realize this, but if you look at, for example, Nespresso, they've got a free product. What's their free offer? You can go in their actual store and you can go and try coffee for free. They always give you free coffee. They got their core product, which is the coffee machines they're selling. You can go buy a coffee machine, and that's their goal, is sell you a coffee machine. They've got the subscription, which is their coffee pods that you have to use up. So every month you have to buy their coffee. That's a subscription model. They have the upsell, which is, of course, a super expensive coffee machine that makes exactly the same coffee. Like, why do they have 20 coffee machines using the exact same pod, making the exact same coffee? It doesn't make any sense, but some people just buy the 3 grand coffee machine because it's there. So this is a typical example of like a business that deploys this. Another business that deploys this that you guys might not even think about is what's that retailer, Costco. So Costco is a really interesting business model, and I don't know if you guys have ever studied what Costco does, but 30% of all of their profit come from their subscription, which is their $50 membership. So Costco is a traditional retailer that engineered a subscription, and the majority of their profit comes from a subscription. Another example of a massive business, of course, is Apple. Like, that's very easy to figure out. You know, they've got their Apple One subscription. The iPhone is a core offer. They've got their super expensive upsells in terms of like MacBooks and stuff like that. They've got their free thing, which is go in on Apple and try everything out as long as you want. And of course, take the product home with you and get a refund if you use it in 2 weeks and you don't like it. So every core business has this model. And a lot of people in e-com, they get stuck in this loop of studying e-com. And I've chatted to Ty Lopez's CMO a week ago. We did 3 weeks ago, we did a podcast. And, you know, they're doing, when he started, he didn't reveal too many numbers, but they were doing 800 million a year in e-com when he started as a CMO there. And all they do is study the top companies on earth. They don't study small e-com brands. They don't even study the traditional brands like Gymshark, which you think would be a massive company to study. They study the Warren Buffetts and the massive enterprise level companies. So don't get stuck in the loop of studying e-com businesses to do e-com, because the best way to create generational wealth with e-com is really going outside of the box of everything you're doing in terms of your offer, how you're selling, what you're selling. And of course, you get pretty much paid in e-com to the proportionate of like your skill set. So if you are in a position right now where you're still struggling to get something profitable, you're still struggling to get to, you know, the $1,000 a day in sales or the 10 grand a day in sales, the main way to really track and keep yourself motivated, and this applies to pretty much every business, is think of progress as how much you can increase your skill sets and how better you're getting at actually business in general, because skill sets in itself stack exponentially. And so by doing and becoming very good in 10 different things, suddenly you can combine them with like 100x outcomes. So a lot of people get really demotivated when something doesn't work, but for myself, I've always tracked my skill sets over physical money, because skill sets is always a leading indicator to wealth and success in the long run. Now, of course, top of funnel, main thing you guys want to, of course, know a little bit more about is just creating ads and content. Now, there's definitely been speakers, and you guys have a lot of coaches on like what's good creative, what's bad creative. I don't really want to touch on that too much, just because there is other speakers and other people in the room that has talked about that. But what I do want to give you guys is a really cool practical tool. So the first tool we have is we've got a little spreadsheet that you can manage when you create content. And so this is like a little approval sheet that we use for our media company as well. And you guys have the link there. So when you get access to a spreadsheet, you can use that. And that's a really cool little tool to really just keep track of creating content. And of course, when you use like a VA or editor, then that's a really cool collaborative tool. Now, the other thing we have as well is we've got a copywriting like little doc where you can pretty much just write out all of your ads and all of those things. So have a look through this, really cool little tool as well. And yeah, give you guys some tips and stuff on shooting content. But the one thing I want to talk about ads, that is something that we've been using quite a lot, is we have this approach to creating modular content. So pretty much how that works is what you do is you create a bunch of hooks, a bunch of like middle of the video content, like the actual body content, and then a bunch of call to actions. And instead of creating all of these unique ads, you swap the hooks, you swap the middle pieces of content, and you swap the end pieces of content. So if you create 5 hooks, 5 body pieces of content in your video, and then 5 CTAs, then you can combine that to create like an instant 50 creatives. So this is a way where we want to be more productive, and especially with creative, This is the biggest problem I see with a lot of brands, practically speaking. Even the big brands doing 10, 20 million a month, like they have a massive issue with creative output. And this is a constant thing you guys are going to run into. And one thing to keep aware of is Meta itself has an algorithm where it actually detects unique creative. So by just literally changing the hook or the body piece of content or the call to action or just using some like little other subtitles, you pretty much fool Meta on thinking it's a new creative, and you suddenly get the old performance you normally got on that creative. So don't be afraid of like rinsing a lot of good creative with just slight modifications, and that'll also solve your creative like problem quite a bit. And the other way that we solve creative really fast, I'm going to talk in another section below. But what we pretty much do is we leverage a lot of the UGC creators that, one, don't have a lot of followers, but two, have the skill sets. And so a lot of these UGC creators are like up and coming. They got 2,000-3,000 followers, but they make really good content. And by just doing a lot of free gifting, we can literally get all of the UGC content we ever need. So that's just a quick little hack, is like just gift to people that can make influencer style content but doesn't have the followers. So you don't really have to pay them. You just send them free gifts. And I've got some advanced things to do with that I'll discuss with you guys as well. But this system, we actually systemize. My old roommate has a ecom brand, and this system, he systemized the free gifting so well that Davey Fogarty wanted it, and now Davey's on his board of directors for his ecom brand. So by just creating these systems and really thinking about like how can I also systemize and process and create a process for everything in your business is how you really scale. Because when you do hire, you want the least amount of complexity in your business, and you want everything in a system or standard operating procedure. So when you do hire and build teams, you can hire people that doesn't even have the skill sets, because they literally just follow the process and the system that you've built. And so, you can run a massive ecom brand by getting a bunch of $3 an hour VAs, which if you really want to be competitive, you should do that and just hire a very core team of people that you pay the expensive amount to. So this systemizing approach is really, really important to actually scale. Now, one thing I want to touch on, and this is a really cool thing that, let me just exit this. This is a really cool thing that we've recently built. And if you guys been on the calls with me, you would have seen this as well. And I really want to touch on this because this is such a powerful system. And I don't really have that much time to go deep into this, but I just want to show you guys what we've built here. And this is pretty much a systematic way to not only write copy, but to actually create a funnel specifically for a persona. So I'm just going to pull up this example. So this is something you guys can do in your own business, and it's really quick and easy to do. So what you do is you pretty much write a persona down for your exact business. In this case, let's say we're selling a baby product. So a persona would be a pregnant mom. And then what we do is we write down a bunch of values, hobbies, and interests. So in this case, the example I have here is they educate themselves on newborn babies and everything to become a good mom because they're pregnant at the moment. And then suddenly you can write out all of the pain points and then the ideal outcomes for that specific value for that persona. So in this case, she's overloaded with too much information, very time poor, at too much and getting the right information. She's afraid to make the wrong decision to affect a newborn. And then ideal outcomes, absolute clarity of exactly how to care for a baby, respect and admiration from her peers. And the beauty of this is by simply just writing these things out, now suddenly you have literally your headline for your ads. So this case, feeling overwhelmed by too much contradicting information as a soon-to-be good mom. The only guide you ever need to be, or the only guide you need as a soon-to-be mom. And then suddenly you can write out a bunch of ad copy, and then of course what else you can sell them with for that exact pain point. So really focusing on this little exercise is really powerful to create, one, the copy and the persuasive element to your brand. And it's a very scientific thing to do. You don't have to think about how do I create creative copy. You literally just follow the system and go deep into this whole process. And the other reason why this is so powerful is you're going to figure out exactly what else to sell them because you know their exact pain points. So this is something I really advise you for anyone running a brand already. Do this whole process and you'll get a really good sense of who your customer is. And this is how you create really powerful offers, because now we have specific messaging for your exact customer. So have a play around with that. I'm just a bit low on time. So another thing that we want to give you today is we build a bunch of ChatGPT prompts for marketing. So this is everything in one, everything you need, all the different ways to use ChatGPT for your brand or your ecom business. And you can just click on this link and yeah, there's like 2,000 prompts in there. So you guys are going to love that. And this saves you a lot of time. And if you're doing ecom in 2025 and you're not using AI half of your day, you're losing, because you're competing against players that have all of their employees using AI all the time. So you need to massively think about like, how can I increase productivity with AI? And this is a really cool little shortcut for you guys. Now let's move on. I've got not that much time. Just touching on some quick metrics on your landing pages. So of course, view content rate. So that's like what percentage of people don't drop off and actually hit your site after clicking the ads. Mainly you're going to fix that by, of course, like having a really fast page. And this is such a quick fix. And a lot of the brands always struggle with like just having fast sites. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. But by just fixing this little section on your actual landing page helps out a lot. Then of course, like some good and bad add to cart rate metrics. So, bad is around 10% of people adding to cart. Good is 15% and above. And then what percentage of people check out from the add to carts. And then of course, what percent of people purchase. So moving on, I've given you guys some really powerful metrics of, and when you see this presentation, you can get access to all of this, but really powerful metrics about device usage, average order value for each month last year, add to cart rate, etc. So have a look at all of those graphs, some really good insights there. Now, how do we actually improve our funnels and what are we doing for funnels, and just some super practical advice for you guys here. So first things first, you're going to want to focus on above the fold content. So what that means is everything that someone sees when they actually hit your landing page. So before they actually scroll, when they actually hit your landing page, that's where the majority of people are going to drop off or take an action. And so you guys really need to fix and test your above the fold content. And that's the most important thing to do. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of some landing pages and stuff as well. But a big takeaway for everybody here is conversion rate optimization. And I think this is something that like people overlook so much. And when they hear this, they think about like, oh, I'm going to put a button on, or I'm going to like change the price and that's it. But I'm going to give you guys an example of why this is so powerful. But if you guys divert a percentage of your ad spend to optimizing your conversion rate when you have a bad conversion rate, you're going to get a far higher return on ad spend. And you guys really need to think of this as an ongoing thing. And the reason why this is so powerful is the pure math behind conversion rate. So here's an example. I'm just using super basic math just to make this very simple. But let's say you've got a 2% conversion rate, and that 2% conversion rate, you're getting $10 in sales and you have a 10% profit margin. So for, let's say that $10 in revenue you're doing, you got $1 in profit. So your product cost is around $3. Your CPA, which is what you pay for ad spend, is $6, and you've got $1 profit. Now, if you take your conversion rate from 2 to 3%, so that means for the $6 in traffic you've just spent, you've got now $15 in revenue. But the product cost is now just $4.50, because why? You're just selling 50% more of your product. your cost per acquisition is still $6, and now your profit is $4.50. So you 4.5x your profit by increasing your conversion rate from 2 to 3%. And you guys are so like obsessed with making an ad that performs 10% better with your click-through rates, where your conversion rate's stuck at like 2 or 3%. So a lot of the really successful brands scaling super fast that I've worked with, they're all sitting at 5 to like 9% conversion rates. Now, of course, if you're selling like a big high-ticket product, you're gonna have to, have a lower conversion rate, which is fine. But it's something to really be aware of and something to really focus on. And this is almost as powerful as any other metric or benchmark in ecom is conversion rate. And it's probably the most overlooked thing. So really thinking about how to do that. We've always used Google Optimize. Optimizely is really good right now. And what that pretty much does is it dynamically changes your site based on who comes to your site. So you can send, let's say 20% or 30% of your traffic to a split test you're doing for like an image or pricing or something. And then of course, actually benchmark and figure out what's working there. Now, just pure examples of what we're doing for themes. Shrine has been the best theme for us. This is like, we got one store now at like 9% conversion rate with Shrine. And to give you some examples, have a look through all of this, but shout out to my mate Frankie. I'll just use one of his examples. So this is like an implementation of Shrine theme. So as you can see, and this is fully drop shipped as well, but super branded, super clean. It's got a lot of things going on to really bump the AOV. We've got a bunch of like social proof on here of like Facebook comments and stuff like that. We've got before and afters, like a little sliding thing. We've got frequently asked questions, more social proof. So the Shrine theme has been doing really, really well for us. And I would definitely suggest everybody to try it out. If you're new to ecom, might not be the best move yet, just because like it's like $400-500 USD for the full theme. But it's super, super powerful. Now, I've got about 25 minutes left on this presentation, but this is the real key point that I want to give you guys today. And the reason why I chose this is because I feel like it's very, very overlooked in the ecom community. And I don't see a lot of people actually talking about this as like, the YouTube space or whatever. But this is a system where you can get a guaranteed 3 to 4 times return on ad spend. You can scale it unlimitedly. And the only risk to you really is your time and effort that you actually put into this. And what this is simply affiliate marketing. And a lot of you guys, you're in affiliate marketing and you think about, I have a little link in bio and I give someone a commission and now I've got an affiliate link on my store. And this is not true. A lot of the brands that do extremely well, I'll give you guys some crazy examples, go super hard with affiliates. And it becomes almost a acquisition channel as your paid channels as well. So I want to break this down step by step as it gets more complex. But this is the first step that 99% of ecom brands do. And that's simply having the little affiliate link in bio. So someone promotes your product, they get a cut of the commission by someone checking out using their link. So this is what 99% of brands do, and it's a good strategy. Amazon does hundreds of millions a year just using the strategy of the little promotion and affiliate links. But you can go a lot deeper just with this part. So firstly, what you can do is you can actually create a full brand document and a full SOP for your potential affiliates where you educate them about your brand. You also give them content about your brand, and they can also get loyalty tiers. So the more they actually promote your products, the more money they make, the more money they can make. So just thinking about like how you can creatively leverage affiliates is super, super powerful. Now, this is some really cool apps that you can just quickly integrate to Shopify, Affiliate Lead, Referral Candy, I'll promote. My theory on all these apps is I normally just install all of them and I test all of them and I figure out what I like and what features are available. And from there, I can extrapolate and figure out what I actually want to use. So this is tier one, very simple to implement. You have your little link in bio. You can get other people to actually promote your products. Now, this is where stuff gets really fun. So the second tier, of course, is our short form content, our TikToks, everybody posting TikToks about your products. Big trend right now, you've probably seen Simon Beer talk about this, is of course TikTok Shop, which, you know, if you get your products featured on there, you can make a lot of money when this comes out in Australia. But short form content is massively scalable. So firstly, of course, using it as your own channel, your own TikTok account. And then secondly, getting your affiliates to actually repost content with these short form platforms, you know, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. And then the other thing, of course, is you can scale products by just using the strategy that you can't sell with paid ads. So Tabs Chocolate is a good example, which is like the performance chocolate. Shout out to them. And they've got about 2,500 affiliates that just post their content day in and day out. And that's how they scale their brand. They're doing, you know, big 8 figures a year by literally just using these affiliate strategies. And another good example, of course, love him or hate him, Tate grew from 0 to the most famous man on the planet in 6 months by just using short form content and affiliates reposting his things. So he literally monetized that with a SaaS platform, doing 15, 20 million a month net right now. And he just used affiliates, no risk to him. He just supplied them the content. They just reposted, reclipped, put their links in bio. And he became the most Googled man in 6 months from nothing. So the scale at which you guys can deploy this is insane. And we've done this recently for our own client, and we've done over 1.2 billion views in the last year by literally just deploying the same strategy. So now what's really cool is how can we like use this and combine this with paid ads? So one of the highest ROAS strategies on earth right now is you're simply running ads to get affiliates for your brand. And I'll give you I've got a really good example here, but think about like recruiting affiliates as a full funnel for your actual brand. So what we did for that example, doing 1.2 billion views, we ran ads to India and we got about 30-cent leads from that. And then 1 in 12 closed as an affiliate. We send them a bunch of training. We got weekly calls with the affiliates. We've got SOPs and scripts they follow. We've got a content folder, it gets updated. And so we've gotten about 1,500 affiliates from that. And if you divide 1.2 billion by 12, and then of course by 1,500 affiliates, so you're getting about 72,000 views per affiliate per month. And so if that's at a $25 CPM, that's $21,000 in ad spend we get for $3.60.
It's funny.
So this is where if you create really creative offers and you really try and engineer like how you can really scale a brand and think about this stuff creatively, you can get these outsized returns that like you can't really get taught anywhere. So this is so powerful. You're pretty much getting and recruiting salespeople for your company. If they don't perform, you don't pay them. If they do perform, as I said, 3 to 4 ROAS. So you give them 20% commission. It's pretty much running at the same as like a 4 ROAS for your brand. 30% commission, pretty much like a 3 ROAS for your brand. And it's so scalable because you can get 1,000 people reposting your content, and if they post it twice a day, you can just think about the brand uplift you also get for your brand as well. So don't be afraid about experimenting with this. But of course, I'm not saying this is going to be easy. I'm not going to say this is not a lot of hard work, but there's a massive opportunity here. And before the short form content gets too saturated, I think there's about 6 to 12 month window left where this strategy can get you guys crazy returns. So really think about how to do that. Now, of course, you can use marketplaces, giveaways, Reddit, Facebook groups, as well as affiliate coaches that teach people how to be affiliate marketers to actually get you these affiliates as well. Now, another really powerful method, and this is so much free money on the table, is brand collaborations. So if you have a brand and you've got 100,000 customers on your email database of people who's done business with you, I'll just zoom this in a bit more. If you have 100,000 people on your email list and you're selling a $30 product, you've probably spent over $1 million minimum to acquire that email list of 100,000 people. So someone has given Mark Zuckerberg $1 million to $2 million to get 100,000 people on the email list. And now you want to go give Zuckerberg the same amount to get the same email list. Why don't you just hit up the brand with your exact customers that's not your competition and literally do collabs with them, send emails to their list, they get a cut of your sales, but you both make sales. It's risk-free for both of you. And you can instantly get extra 50, 100 grand a month by just doing the strategy. So if you have, in this example again, a baby store, you're selling, let's say, cool multivitamins for pregnant moms, and there's another baby brand and they just sell baby clothes. And they are massive. They've been around for 5 to 10 years. They've got a really good name. How much time and effort is it to hit up 50 of these different brands with an email saying, hey, we'd love to do a collab. They'll work out for both of us. You've got a massive list. I've got a list. We'll do like a co-branded venture. And you'll make really good money because you're just tapping in your new list with a new vertical, a new product. And it's a win-win for both of you. So it's so astonishing to me that like everybody's so keen to pay Zuckerberg to get the same email list that someone already has. So with just this strategy, you can launch a 7-figure brand by just partnering with 5 other brands in the same niche. And again, you're not directly competing with these guys. You're hitting up people just in the same niche, the same customer that you're looking for that has just a different product. And so it becomes a win-win for them because they've got this list. They've spent the millions of dollars to get that list. Why not monetize it more? They send an email out, no risk to them, as long as, of course, you have a good product and you're a reputable brand and you actually ship to them, and you just give them a percentage of that sales you make. So this is such a powerful thing that no one talks about. I don't know why, but there's tons of businesses doing business with your ideal customer, and you just have to hit them up. And how hard is it to send 50 emails a day to a couple of these brands? And that adds up really fast. And you can get a virtual assistant, $3 an hour, and she just sends brand collab emails and requests to every brand in the same space. So this is another method where we can get crazy returns on our time and effort without really risking anything, pretty much just using affiliate strategy. Now, if you're more traditional business, a lot of traditional businesses do this, where if you have some sort of B2B offer, you go to your local accountant or your local lawyer that has the exact client that business wants. And of course, they can get you referrals. But why don't we do that exact same strategy for our own e-com brand as well? Now, just want to touch on affiliate marketplaces. So as I mentioned, ClickBank and Digistore is really good. And the reason why I mentioned a digital product in the start, of course, 1, get your cheap leads or cheap emails. But 2, if you have a digital product, now you've unlocked ClickBank and Digistore as marketplaces. Digistore, a couple of billion a year processing through there, where you can just sell that digital product with affiliates on there. And affiliate marketers go to Digistore to find products to promote. So you can even give away 100% of the commission. Like if you have a digital product, sell it for $30, you give away 100% commission. The affiliate makes all the commission, but you get a free email in your database. Now I've got a whole funnel of free emails coming towards my brand that I'm not even paying for. Why pay Zuckerberg? This pay someone hardworking that's a good affiliate marketer, and you get the email and the data on the customer long term, and you can promote with them, market to them by emails. Same with ShareASale, CJ Affiliate, Rakuten. They're all pretty much e-com related affiliate marketplaces. So a lot of different products on there that affiliate marketers can go and sell, and a lot of affiliate marketers on there. Then, of course, we've got Facebook groups and forums. So, there's tons of these affiliate marketer forums, and all of these affiliates want good products to sell because they want to make good money. And so if you have a good offer, which is the first point I made, that converts very well, then they want to sell that and they want to make a good commission. Then we've got, again, as I mentioned, affiliate coaches. There's literal coaches that you're seeing ads for every day teaching you affiliate marketing that has 5,000 affiliate students that got taught with a $3,000 to $5,000 program of how to do affiliate marketing. You literally can just hit up that coach. Hey, I've got a great offer. I'll give you 5%. The affiliates get 30%. And we all make money together. And your trained affiliates promote my product. And it's a win-win for everybody. And latest, of course, School Communities is another community group for affiliate marketing. So a lot of these things I talk about, the concepts are very simple. But where there's simple concepts, it requires a lot of hard implementation. And a lot of times when you listen to or learn these super hard concepts, is normally very easy to implement. But affiliates in itself is not something that you guys should take lightly or just something in the back burner of your business. This can really get you another 8 figures in revenue by just deploying these strategies properly. And the thing is, the only risk to you is simply the time and effort to actually do these things. Where with your traditional ad spend, you're risking your money and there's no guaranteed success. Where with affiliates, you're pretty much telling them like, hey, I only pay you if you bring me in sales. And that's the beauty of this whole system is you simply pay people after they get you the sales in the door. So it's a very high ROI thing to do if implemented properly. And of course, the beauty of this is if you're getting started and you don't have thousands of dollars for ad spend, the quickest way to actually do this is like, hey, I'm just going to do TikTok. I'm going to post 2 to 5 TikToks a day and get some views in the door, get some sales in the door. Oh, okay, I know TikTok works. I've validated that TikTok works with my content. Now I can literally give that content to another affiliate that has another 3 to 5 TikTok accounts. And they can start posting my content and get sales in, and we both win. So this is a quick and easy way to start, but the opportunity here is so massive. And if you guys combine affiliate recruiting with like ad spend, it's crazy the type of returns you can get. And especially for like SaaS companies, I've seen, even if you break even on a customer acquisition, it's a 10 to 15x multiple. So for every $1 of revenue this affiliate generates, it adds $15 of equity to your company. So very powerful system. Now, here's a QR code. You get access to all of this. Now everybody's pulling out their phones. So Ethan back there, my business partner, he's going to actually manually SMS all of you. So we'll see if he can speed run this. But yeah, you get access to all of this, all of the links, everything in there as well. And yeah, there's quite a few cool tools in there. So have a play around with them.